Hi, my name's Lauren Blood. I'm a communication studies major with a concentration in interpersonal communication. Egypt is ruled under the Islamic Sharia, which the Sharia is a code under the Quran in which looks at moral, ethical, and religious standards for which Muslims have to live their lives. The Quran has codes that make women look inferior to men, and in their culture and under the Quran, women are considered inferior to men and they can be beaten just because things in the Quran says that they can be. Women's rights under the Islamic Sharia, women's rights violence is widely spread and unrestrained. There are specific codes under the Quran which men are allowed to beat their wives, and you can literally kill your wife in Egypt if she's being disobedient, if you think that she's committing adultery or you find her in the act of committing adultery, you can kill her in Egypt. So some examples from the Quran that encourage violence against women are: husbands are allowed to beat their wives if they fear disobedience, which implies that actual disobedience need not occur for the beating to be justified. So even if the men feel like the women are being disobedient, they can beat them for that. Another one is having female slaves, those whom your right hand possesses, is permissible. So they allow, under the Quran, you're allowed to have slaves, and it's not looked down upon. One thing that men can do if they feel like the women in their household are being disobedient is they can file an obedience complaint if their wife leaves the home without his permission. So the obedience law is a law put in place for women to not be able to leave the house and go wherever they want to, whenever they want to. They have to have permission from their husband to leave. And they also need permission to travel and obtain a passport from their husband. If the woman isn't married yet, she still needs permission from the male of the household to leave the house and to leave her duties if she tries to leave too many times. Another law that they have in place in Egypt is the personal status law, which means women can only marry Muslim men, abortion is illegal and not the woman's choice, and if a woman gets divorced, they have to wait 3 months after the divorce to start dating. That's not in place for men. After they get a divorce, they can start dating right away. They don't have to wait the 3 months like the women do, and they can marry outside their own culture. Violence against women. Some acts of violence that are widely spread throughout Egypt is, one of them is genital mutilation, which was made illegal in 2008 but is still widely practiced throughout the entire country. 99.3% of women ages 15 to 49 have had genital mutilation happen to them or somebody in their family. And almost all cases go unreported because even though it's made illegal, women feel that they don't have the right or the ability to speak out against it. Another act of violence against women is arranged marriages. 18 is the minimum age to get married, but about 15% of all Egyptian marriages are children. And in their culture, men are harder on unmarried women than married men. So parents try to have arranged marriages for their children to either to make them stay in the culture or to get them a significant other faster. And although rape is prohibited, it still does occur, and many cases go unreported. Women are abused sexually and physically by their husbands even during their pregnancy. And there's no laws against multiple offenders. When it comes to rape, there's only laws for one offender. Some political rights in Egypt for women are that women gained the right to vote in 1956 in the Egyptian constitution, but they have some restrictions on being able to vote. For example, they cannot wear revealing clothing when going to the poll. So whether that be their ankle showing, their wrist showing, anything like that, that's not acceptable when going to vote. And a male also has to escort them into the poll. Women cannot have government jobs because the council said that women's emotions and home duties deem them unfit to make rational decisions in government making laws. The rate of attendance for women in Egypt in secondary education is about 46%. Women are usually segregated from male students at universities so that they're only with other female students. Women are less likely to go to school in Upper Egypt because they're more traditional and conservative and protective of their women. The literacy rate of women is 65.4%, while that of the male is 82.2%. A big push and a big supporter of women having careers in Egypt is the Women's Employment Promotion Program, which their focus and support is on the establishment of monitoring mechanisms to measure and improve quality attributions to technical education. So this program wants to get women more into other jobs other than agriculture and working in factories. They want to get them in jobs that are more technical. So most of the jobs include agricultural duties or working in factories, and the factories that the women do work in it's only women working in the factories with males watching over them. And women make up about 3.12% of the Egyptian workforce. Non-government organizations. A big non-government organization that tries to help the efforts of having women seen more equal in Egypt is the Convention of the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It's an international bill of rights for women, and specific articles focus on different aspects of them trying to help. So Article 15 and 16 relate to women's rights and equality, and it also relates to the access to education, which allows women to have education and go to secondary ed. And it also allows them the access to employment for them to be able to have a job. And Article 17 through 22 is the committee to eliminate the discrimination against women. So that includes national records, rules of procedures, and committee reports. There's also other international NGOs that help out to promote and try to further empower women in Egypt. And they are Women Empowerment Promotion Program, Equality Now, and Human Rights Watch. So some things that we can do to help are set up more shelters for women so they have a place where they can go to feel safe, keep establishing treaties to protect women, and put sanctions into place for countries with high rates of women's violence, just like there are in Egypt. So a recap of what I went over in this PowerPoint is in Egypt, Islamic Sharia is what the country is ruled under. Obedience law puts restrictions on where women can go and when they can and cannot leave their house and their duties. International NGOs and the United Nations are trying to eliminate abuse, but the country itself has to change for it to be successful. Thank you.